Hi, welcome to Lesson 5, Drawing a Chair with Mr. Lawrence. Alright, today we're going to teach you how to draw a basic chair. I'm going to show you how to draw kind of a stool like that. If you want to add a back to it, or armrests, you're more than welcome. If you want to do a traditional or fancy, something totally your own design, or even make the back of your chair look like a mobile phone, you're more than welcome. Some extra marks. Let's get started. So you guys have got a margin, you've got the number of the drawing, and of course your name. I'm going to ask you guys to give yourselves some starting points, one over this side and one over this side. We're going to, of course, start with our bird's foot, so let's get that done. There we go. Now remember, super light lines. Okay, let's begin with some light lines here, like this. We're going to sketch a little box here. And crisscross. Alright, this is going to be my basic the legs of the chair. So I'm actually going to come down from these lines a little bit and sketch some isometric lines. Right, this is going to be the top, so I'll round this off. Let's make this timber. So I'll darken that in like that, and to make it look like timber, let's put a timber join in it. Just a light line with a little bit of grain, maybe some end grain. Good enough. A little bit of brown pencil, you'll see what I mean. Put your number 1 value through the whole lot. Then this side, let's darken it up a little bit. And wood's never perfect, so let's put a few little bits there. There we go. Alright, so let's put some legs on this. So let's start off from the bird's foot. We'll come out here. We're making really a long, thin box, so we'll go like this there. And at the back, we'll come down. Now, this line at the back actually is a copy of that line. So just as we come forwards, we'll do the same thing here to there. Now we'll come up to give us that line. So we've got those two lines. Now we need this one, which means from here we've got to come up. So there's a new bird's foot. We'll get that one there, and we'll bring that one up. Slightly different over here. This line is this far one. So just as we've got a bird's foot, let's come forwards, put a bird's foot there. So we're going to go up and across. There's my new bird's foot. Come up to here and up to there. Let me add a little bit of shading, you'll see what I mean. Let's put a number 1 through those. Darken that one. Come back and darken that one. A little bit of shadow under here where it gets a bit less light. A bit of shadow under here. Okay, now the leg at the back you can't see, it's hidden by that one, but let's just fudge it anyway. It's going to look weird if you can't see any leg at the back there. Okay, so there's your basic stool. There's a pass. Now if you want to get a little bit more fancy, you could design your own back and put on it. And this one has a top, 2 thick side pieces and 2 thin pieces. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's come up, and maybe lean them back a little if you like, or you could just come straight up. Decide how high you want the back of your chair. Let's do a really high one up here. So there's my isometric line. Let's give ourselves a top and a couple of side pieces. So what I've basically done here is sketch in what the back would look like if it was just flat like this. So I'm going to darken this in a little bit for you. Right, so there's a basic top piece, some side pieces. It doesn't have any thickness yet. To give it the thickness, all you do is start from here, and everywhere there's a corner on your isometric line out this direction, a little bit like that. Here's a corner, out there, there's the end of the piece, and let's darken that one in. Alright, it's rough, but you get the idea. This line here also will have come out in this direction. I'll set a line there. If you want, you can fill this in with whatever you want at the back. You could have some lines coming up and down like that, or you could have your pieces of wood going crossways like that. Give it some thickness. Crossways like that. Give it some thickness. There you go. A little bit of wood grain. Oop. Let's give this a little bit of colour. A bit dark on that side, darker on that side. Let's do something a little bit unexpected here. Let's go a different colour. Let's go a painted piece across here, just for fun. There we go. Now, of course, before you firm it in, you could modify this shape. It wouldn't need to be like this. You could have, you know, sort of fancy shape at the top. You could have, you know, something funny going on there at the sides. Just have some fun with it. If every drawing's different, I'm over the moon. Alright, I'm darkening in actually a cutting line around the inside there, and of course around the outside. So your cutting line again is the line right around the outside of the drawing. That should be the darkest one on the page. There's another rule that says if anything overlaps, you can also do that, but who cares about the rules, right? So there's a basic chair. Over here, I'd like you to design your own chair. And you could come up with whatever chair you want, except for, of course, no one wants a beanbag. That's way too simple. Come up with a chair that's based, uses a bird's foot. Here's some examples. There's a like traditional kind of upholstered chair. To do this, basically draw your chair. Before you darken it in, do some dots and just do some little lines all bulging down to that. Round off your corners and hey presto. Let's have some fun with this. Let's draw an axle and an axle. If you've got an axle like this, if you can draw like a football or egg shape, you do it across the axle like that. One there, and let's put some tracks on it. There we go. So again, there's my axle. Across it, draw a football shape, and not going to see much of that one. Alright, let's repeat the same thing over in this direction a little bit. There's my, of course, chair on tracks. I've got another one here. If you want something a little bit retro, but slightly spacey, here we could call this the retro chair, I guess. So let's do something here. Let's draw an axis, or an axle if you like, going this way. And I'm going to draw a small circle here and isometric angle, small circle. So along this axis I'm actually going to draw, let's make this a jet engine. So let's go like that, like that. There's my other circle, like that, like that. Let's draw a nozzle here. Nozzles. Now to firm this in, you can see I'm probably going to have a shape that's going to look something like that. And doesn't look very jettish yet, but perhaps with some joining panels and some rivets and things like that. Also, I think a little bit of nozzle here. There we go. Let's put a little bit of flame in here. And maybe a bit of a wing here or something like that might look a little bit more. Yeah, now we're talking. There is your basic flying jet chair. Thanks for drawing, Mr. Lawrence. I can't wait to see what you come up with.
Bye.